I'm Kevin Monahan. I'm from Eco-Finance. We are building NFTs like everyone else is. But what we decided, hey, there I am. What we decided to do when we were looking at the space and what we wanted to build was the NFT contracts are very powerful things. They can do a lot and they can provide a lot of value to a lot of different aspects of life. And the way that they were being used and the way they still sort of are being used is not really all that valuable. Like, everyone's kind of scared of the fact of like missing out on this NFT thing, but the reality is you're buying a JPEG that's on somebody's server that you're kind of like, this is actually what I own is the original art, but the reality is you don't. And if you tried to sell that, it belongs to someone else. The artist still owns the actual artwork. So what you own is a JPEG on someone's server. So when we were starting, we were like, how do we use this tool in a way that's actually valuable? So I thought real estate, things that you could actually put tangible, like the NFT would represent ownership in something. Real estate, we found out, was very difficult to do. So we have a team member that had access to a museum curator for several museums and art collectors, and ended up buying a whole bunch of very famous old pieces by people like Van Gogh, Matisse, Degas, etc. And we are fractionalizing them so that you can own pieces of them on blockchain that you can prove that you actually own the thing. So when we this is our marketplace and what we've started. This is the first marketplace we'll have. We will be moving on to several other things, real-world assets that we will be attaching to NFTs on blockchain. We're talking with a couple of companies regarding doing certifications for high-end goods on blockchain, because there's a huge problem with forgeries in anything that's nice. And so we kind of figure that if you take the certificate of authenticity, which is like, this is what shows that you have a real thing right now, is that you have this cert from this company that you assume is from this company, but it's actually just a printout that anyone can copy and give you another, sort of like your JPEGs. So if you take that and you have an encrypted QR code, or just a QR code that you had to open up, and in order to actually access your data, you then sign a transaction from the address that owns this NFT, you prove you own it, and then you can open up the actual certificate of authenticity from the actual company that you have bought whatever item from. So you have 100% guarantee that this is an authentic item. You essentially eliminate forgeries. I'm assuming that they would figure out other ways to make forgeries, but this would make it extremely hard. So these are the types of things that we were looking into in NFTs when we started this company. Additionally, kind of my goal in the space is to use tools that like exist for basically controlling corruption, things like this. So global income is something that I believe you should have. When you're born, you should have a place to live. You should have food to eat your whole life. You should not need to fight for these things. You shouldn't have to steal them. They should just exist. You want a Lamborghini, you have to work for it. Nobody is going to, no one else is going to buy you anything that is a luxury good. But your food is something that you should have. Because when people are well-fed, when people have a place to live, they don't have to worry about these things, they're very productive. You essentially create a Renaissance era because of the fact that when you have everything you need, why would you do things you don't want to get things I mean, I guess you might do that, but like, you're more likely to kind of go out of your way to be as productive as you can, be doing the things that you like, because you're not worried about your house at the end of the month. And that is a huge thing for me. Is, COVID is a really good example of this. Is basically when people are forced into positions that they don't have what they need, they go and they take it. So crime rate in like very affluent areas are like, a lot of weird stuff is going on right now. because of the fact that we have forced need onto people. That's unnecessary. We have enough food for everyone. It exists. People throw away food all the grocery stores. Go to the grocery store at the end of the day. There will be a big trash can with rotten food in it because, not even rotten food, just bad food that no one would pick because it, has a bruise on the apple, whatever. People are kind of don't pay attention to, I guess the amount of waste that we create because of things we feel entitled to, or things that we like fruits. People will not touch fruits with bruises on them in supermarkets. It's just a thing. But they're not bad food. Why does that go in the trash at the end of the day? Why isn't there infrastructure set up to give this to people that actually need the food? Then people don't have to take the food from you. So additionally to our marketplace, we built this. We built the contract that does sort of an interest generating, sort of a, it's just a different system to generate value. So what I realized was that deflationary systems don't work. Long term, either nothing's available or it's too expensive for most people to have. Bitcoin, for instance. Then you have inflationary things like our fiat, USD. If anyone's noticed, everything has gotten kind of a lot more expensive in the past year or so, and it's still not even close to have reacted to the amount of money that we've printed in the past year. 35% of USD in existence was printed in the past year. That means that our money, every dollar you have, is worth 35% less. Some parts of the world have reacted to this. Cars, luxury goods have reacted. So if you go and you buy a car that has an MSRP of $70,000 right now, it will cost you $85,000 out the door. Doesn't matter where you go, how much it's wanted. Like, the supply is not there, and we've printed more money. Other countries have realized we've inflated our currency. So you get German cars, they cost 30% more because they understand that our money is not worth as much as it was last year. Now, a lot of our economy has not reacted to this, but I think that this is a very, very large problem at the point that, the mainstream catches on. Your money goes down 35% of what it's worth, and how many people can actually deal with that loss? Some of us can, some of us can't, but more can't than can. 35% is a huge loss, especially in a year. So if you're assuming that nothing else happens, we have just decreased the value of our money by 35%. But our stock market's also on a 9.5-year run. That has a correction coming in too. But we're not gonna, printing more money is not gonna help solve that problem. You're just going to have more paper dollars that are worth less. How do we make value? So we just developed this staking mechanism that you take currency A that is a deflationary currency, you lock it up, it generates money forever at a compounding rate, and it takes a piece of what you generate and it splits it between anyone that's in the pool evenly. You don't get proportional, it's not proportional to the amount you have in the pool, it is even. So the person with the least in the pool gets the most value add for their total, but you still are generating more than any other system in place in the world for finance. But basically, because the initial currency is deflationary, at some point they should all be locked up. So I'm relying on the system to work the way that financial systems tend to work now, and Bitcoin has, gold has. If something is going to go away forever and it gets harder to get, it gets more expensive. That system is better than inflationary, but not perfect. But if you use it with an inflationary currency that can also deflate, so you basically have, your first currency is deflationary, it generates your secondary currency that inflates constantly, but every time it's spent, you're actually using, that's the value, it's gone. You're burning whatever is used, so the currency basically has whatever supply is needed at any point in time. So there's a currency that's inflationary, but it can basically cut itself in half. It can cut itself into quarters. If there is more than is needed, it burns itself. So you have exactly what you need all the time. And yeah, that's our, oh, cool. So yeah, that was, we built a staking mechanism. It is our solution to global economy, and in order to give that value, we built this marketplace, and we will have several other marketplaces up soon. We currently have a partnership with Raw Papers that we'll be announcing more about very soon. If anyone wants to get in touch, we're team at ecofi.io. I'm Kevin.